Balfour Beatty Pre-Task Plan 101 for subcontractors. What I'm going to talk about right now is the purpose of our pre-task plan process and how to fill it out. So the whole point of this one-page document is to make sure you have a daily safety plan on how you're going to work safely and get home to your family all in one piece. So let's talk about this form. It has a lot of details on it, and that's the whole point, is to be detailed. You want a detailed plan of how you're going to get through your day, what you're going to be doing. Right here in the middle of the form are the instructions for completing this form. Let's refer back to number 1. It says, no physical work is permitted to take place without this thing filled out. Number 2 here, it says the supervisor or foreman and crew must complete the PTP. The supervisor or foreman must lead the discussion with the work crew, soliciting feedback, to ensure that all workers are familiar with the PTP. If the supervisor or foreman is not present to fill this form out, then the crew should not be working anyway. So let's start at the very top corner. You list your project name and the date. Then in the middle here, you put on your work area, specific work area. So say, for example, I will be working in building 1 on the roof. Then here, contractor, that's where you put your company's name. Over in this section, you're going to put in your specific activity or task that you will be completing that day. So for example, perhaps it's your first day on site and you will be mobilizing. That would be your task for the day. Right under that is a little sentence there that says, supervisor has checked work area in advance of work, and they initial. So it's very important that they walk the work area before filling this form out so that they can account for any hazards in the work area. Here in the middle, if you have any applicable resources that would go in hand with this form, then you would attach them as necessary. For example, your AHA or JHA, a logistics plan, your emergency action plan, or something else, maybe a fall protection plan, for example. In this section, you put down the supervisor or foreman's name, an emergency contact name, and the phone number for the emergency contact, other than 911. Over here, we have a section for any kinds of permits or forms that would be required for that scope of work. For example, if you will be doing confined space entry, you would need a confined space form, and that box would be checked. Then here in the middle column, we've got tools and equipment that you would want to list out, specific tools and equipment that you will be using for this task. For example, a ladder or a chipping gun, for example. Here we have additional PPE that is required. Of course, on Balfour Beatty projects as of current, hard hat, safety glasses, vests, and work boots are required. So this is additional PPE that would be required. For example, if you are handling sharp-edged sheet metal, you'd want to wear cut-resistant gloves. So you would check that and write cut-resistant glove. Or perhaps you're working in a loud area where you would want to wear hearing protection, then you would check that box. Or perhaps you are using a jackhammer and you would need a face shield. So fill this out, be specific, must be detailed. And then this section here is pertaining to weather. It's very important when it comes to hot weather, if we're going to have rain, wind, especially if you're doing crane work or hoisting loads, and the heat index here, which you can get off of smartphones if you get apps for Cal OSHA Heat or any other NOAA phone app, you can get this information. Similar to a JHA, pre-task plans ask for similar information. You get to list your job steps, the hazards associated with those steps, and the safe plan to correct or eliminate the hazards. Very similar to a JHA. However, this is way more detailed and it's task specific. So for example, perhaps your task for the day is mobilizing. Then you would put mobilize on site. And a hazard associated with that could be struck by or crushing or caught in between. So a safe plan would be to use spotters or backup alarms, things like that. Resources here could be anything from fall prevention plans, fall protection plans. You could list CJHA for more detailed information. Lastly, at the bottom of the form is a section for all crew members to print and sign their names. It's very important that everybody has been present, reviewed this with the foreman, and print and sign their name. At the very bottom is a space for worker concerns or ideas where you can list anything that you think of, and then later on when Balfour Beatty personnel retains this document, they can see that you listed notes there and perhaps use that as a suggestion in a Zero Harm Committee meeting. It is recommended to have your JHA completed thoroughly before coming to work to save you time. That way you can get to work right when you come on site and you won't have to struggle with paperwork. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact a member of our loss prevention department.